Ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow royalists, welcome to the first episode of Mindspark'25. In this starting episode, we will be connecting the present with the past, a conversation between chairmen from two different eras. Today, with us, we have a distinguished academic and a proud royalist, the chairman of the Royal College General Knowledge Club in 1984, winner of the Turner Prize in 1982, and a consultant physician at the National Hospital of Sri Lanka at present. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Harsha Sathischandra. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
To start the interview, let's talk about how you joined the club. In what year did you join the General Knowledge Club, and what compelled you to join the club?
If I remember right, I think it was probably somewhere in 1981 when I was in grade 9, I think. Those days we had the O-levels in grade 10, so probably it was around that time that I joined the club. But I had heard of the club before, so I was interested. And I was interested in general knowledge from my early school days. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to further my knowledge by joining the club. So I think it was around 1981 that I joined the club annual meeting. So when Mrs. Padmi Rajapaksha was appointed the senior vice president, and then Mr. Vijayasekara, N.I. Vijayasekara, I think his initials were, he was the first founding chairman. Can't remember the secretary's name. Anyway, so that's my memory of it, I think.
Shall we recall what the club was like in its early years? Any memorable projects do you remember happening during that time period?
Yes, I think in 1981, the inter-house quiz contest was first organized by the club. I can't quite remember whether they had a written test to select the team or not, but anyway, the teams were selected and they had a successful event, and I can't remember which house won the tournament, but anyway, it was held and that generated a lot of interest, and that was a time when quiz kids concept was gaining ground, so lots of schools had their teams and there were some competitions on radio, and so there was a general interest. So, and the General Knowledge Club members, the chairman and the other members went around classes recruiting people for the club, so there was quite a bit of activity, I think, during that period. So I think that's my memory of that period.
So, Doctor, in the previous question you mentioned there being quite some interest in quizzing among kids from various schools. So, are there any memorable inter-school quizzes you remember yourself taking part in?
Yes, I can well remember in 1984, I took part in the Royal Thomian Take It or Leave It quiz. It was organized by the Building Materials Corporation, and Mr. Ajantu Jason, who was, I think, the chairman of it at that time, organized it. And it was held at the Jayajayawardena Center in Town Hall. I think now probably it's changed its name, but that was where it was held. And there was a radio broadcast, and a very prominent radio personality, Mr. Vijay Korea, you may have heard of him. He was the quiz master, so he was a very charismatic quiz master. So he tried to generate a lot of interest, and this was just before the Royal Thomian big match, just about a week before. So the team, there were 6 of us. I think Mr. Rahman was the captain of the team. Then there was one Mr. Muzamil, myself, Mr. Sawad, and a few others. So there were 6 members in the team, and Mr. Manju De Silva was the other person. So and we kept reminding ourselves that we could not afford to lose it because it was just before the big match. So there was a lot of interest in it also. So actually, we did win the contest quite comfortably, and Mr. Korea used to ask us asked each and every one of us what we wanted to do. So he wanted to project this as a sort of a social event also. So I can remember him asking what I wanted to do after I passed school. So I think I gave an answer that I would want to become, well, I was in the bio class, so I was planning to be a doctor, so that I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I don't know why I said that. I felt a bit embarrassed also at that time, but then later on I didn't become a surgeon, but I became a physician. So anyway, so there was a lot of interest, so we won comfortably, and I think we had won it, the initial 1980 was the first time. We lost that. I don't know how that happened. Then 81, 82, 83 we won. It was for the RPM, that's a trophy. So in 84 they awarded a new trophy. There was a new trophy. So but at that time they gave us a new trophy, plus they gave the previous trophy outright to us, because that was going to be discontinued. So I think it must be in the principal's room still. So there was a new trophy, so we managed to win that. And then there was this other contest called Soemu Pilituru. That was the first TV contest, and it was in Sinhala, and that also generated a huge amount of interest, because it was the quiz master was one Mr. Abe Sekar, and he was very good. He was actually he very experienced personality, and all the big schools took part. I think there were about 120 schools. We had to face a written test. Then about 16 were chosen. Then there was a quarter-final. We beat, I think, Devi Balika. Then in the semi-finals, we beat Visaka. Finals was between us and Ananda. We were leading until the last two questions. But unfortunately, the last two questions were, not balanced. So we got a really hard question, and they got an easy question. So they just won it. So I still have sort of memories of that, but it was a very tight and good contest. So that generated a lot of interest. I think after that there were lots of TV contests. There was one, Buddhi Pradeep, again organized by the Ministry of Education, I think. We did well in that. So then the Dulux contest started around that time. I think just before the Royal Thomin, I think in 80, before that, one Mr. Sadiq won it for the first time, the Dulux Royalist Dulux contest. That was known as CIC Dulux contest. There, the prize awarded were a pack of paints to the value of 2,500 rupees, but at that time that was a lot. So those are good memories.
So quizzing is not only about winning competitions, it is rather about making friendships with quizzers from other schools and making memories. So what are some great memories that you have from quizzes, and also what were the friendships that you made from quizzing?
Yeah, that's quite true. I think those days there were so many contests. We got to meet other members of quiz teams quite often, and we had a good relation. We had respect for each other as well, and we had good relationships. I can remember the Anand, the captain, one Mr. Nalaka Gunawardhan. I think he later turned out to be an environmentalist, and he was a public figure. So he was very keen on developing friendships. So we talked to each other even between contests. So there was no animosity. We just, during the day of the quiz, we would be very competitive, and we would try to win the quiz for the college. But afterwards, we were quite friendly. And as you said quite correctly, I think preparation for quizzes was also quite interesting. I can remember when we took part in the Swamipithuru contest, Manju De Silva was the captain, myself was there as the chairman of the college of the club at that time, and then one Mrs. Howard. So we used to meet each other quite often. We went to Manjula's place, which was near the SSC, so we went to his house, and for hours we would go through literature. One different thing those days was that the internet was not really that much in operation, so sources of knowledge was not as widespread as it is now, and we had to rely on papers, then books, It was difficult gathering knowledge. I think now it's quite easy and it's at the fingertips. But because of that, we had to scout around people. I can remember swimming through the contest. There were lots of questions on arts, drama, culture. So those were areas we were not really very fluent in. So what we did was we went and got a few prominent personalities. We went to their houses, and they kindly agreed to teach us about the main happenings that were there in culture and drama. So we took down notes. No phones, no computers those days. So we had to take down notes and then consult notes. So even to this day, I'm quite friendly with Manjula and Sabir Sawad, and we have contact with each other even now. So I think, as you correctly said, it's a much broader thing. It was also an escape from the focused studying, but I think overall it was a good experience for all of us.
Turns out, Dr. Quizzing has been completely revolutionized by the invention of the internet. But some things never change, because no matter how much you're competitive during the competition, by quizzing, you make friendships that last a lifetime. Dr. Sathischandra, now teachers play a massive role in any club of the school, especially in a representative club like the General Knowledge Club, because whenever we go to quizzes, a teacher accompanies us, and also in projects that we undertake, they play a massive role. So, what was the role of the teachers of the club back in the day?
Yeah, I'm glad that you asked that question, because I can well remember Mrs. Padmini Rajapaksha, who was the founding senior vice president, the teacher in charge of the General Knowledge Club. So from 1980 onwards, I think she was the teacher in charge for a long time. She was our zoology teacher, and she was a very keen teacher as well. And she had a keen interest in general knowledge. She was like an encyclopedia. She knew a lot. And I mean, even we could ask her if we were struggling with certain areas. So she promoted the club in a big way. And she was a very nice, down-to-earth, very keen person. So she had a lot of time for us. So when we took up projects, she took a keen interest in following up on what we were doing and helped us along the way. And she was well respected by the administration of the school, the principal, and so she was like a role model. Like so because of that, I think it was very easy for us to get things done for the club as well, because the moment we mentioned that we were sent by Mrs. Rajapaksha, everything got done very easily. And she was very happy that we were winning contests, and she would also give us a feedback just after she listened to all those contests, followed them very closely, and she would give a feedback and tell us where we went wrong. She constantly encouraged us. So I think I must really mention the role played by her. So we are all very indebted to her, and if you ask any of the chairmen at that time, I think they would all agree with me in saying that she was a big inspiration to all of us during that period.
Absolutely, Doctor. I believe any chairman of the club would definitely admire the massive role played by the teachers of the club. So, the next question will be quite important to our viewers. So, what are the lessons that you learned from your time in the club and also while doing quizzing? And how did quizzing help you to navigate your life later on?
Yes, so to answer your first question, I think the activities of the club really played an important part in the development of students at that time. Most of us were focused on our studies initially, so when we got to play a role for the club, we had to do lots of things on our own. Of course, there was the guidance from the teachers and the principal, but then still there were lots of activities that we had to plan ourselves. So we were new to that at that time. So I think we had to think on our own and then make a plan and then follow up on the plan, execute the plan well. So those taught us lots of things, and I think the experience we gained actually held us well in our later life, because we learned to deal with the situations well. So it was a case of making situational adjustments, adapting to various situations, and also it improved our communication skills. We had to deal with the teachers and the principal in a certain way. Then we had to deal with the students in another way. We had to actually get students interested in general knowledge and to make them take part in the club activities and also take part in quizzes. So we went around classes and talked to them. So that was both fun and it was very educative as well. So then we analyzed where we went wrong and how we could have done better. So that was quite interesting. Then if you take the quizzing itself, I think it just broadened our knowledge a lot. For example, for contests we had to read on world history, which we may not have done before. Now this was actually not just simple reading, this was focused reading for a contest. So we were it was like targeted reading. So we learned how to have a question in mind and how to find answers. I think that broadened our knowledge a lot. And it introduced not just the factual recall of things, that was of course important for the questions to be answered at quizzes, but also we learned about what happened during those periods. If you take world history, what happened during those periods. So it was like a conceptual education as well for us, I think. Things that we didn't think of or concentrate on before. So overall, I think it has had a positive impact on my life, and I think I know for a fact that even my fellow students in the club were saying that they were quite useful. And also I may add one other thing. Once we passed out of college, then at various times we got back together as quiz teams. There were various contests. One is Sri Lankan Masterminds, which was held for quite a few years. There was a team from the college also, but then we got together under somebody's name and took part in contests. So again we met, and so that was how we renewed our friendships also. And we helped each other out because by then we were in our different professional careers. So we helped each other out with other things. So I think that was important. So it's not just, as you rightly said, not just answering the quizzes. I think it was a complete life education almost, what we got through practice for quizzes and also through the activities of the club.
So I believe quizzing compelled you to not only look into new fields, but also to make bonds that would last for many years. I believe so, Doctor.
Yes, that's true. That's quite true.
As the final question, Doctor, I would like to ask you, what qualities do you think a quizzer should embody?
Yes, I think that's an interesting question. So first of all, I think the quizzer should be interested in the art of quizzing, and so that would be the main requirement, I feel. But then that alone is not enough, because a quizzer should always have commitment. And I think, say, especially if you are representing college or any team for that matter, you have to be mindful of doing your best for that team or the college. So I think quizzer would have to have that commitment, be able to give that commitment. So it might be a difficult thing during school days because you have lots of other work to attend to as well as school work. But still, if you are interested, I think you could find the time, spare the time to devote for preparation, and then to go for the contest as well. So that's one thing. Then I think another important attribute is that you should be down to earth as well, because Sometimes, say in a quiz competition, you are expected to answer, but you should not sort of try to outshine others, especially within a team. I talked about specialization, but even if we forget that, still I think you should be a good team member, and not only just sort of improve your own knowledge, but also help the others as well to come up. And especially those days, I think I learned from experience, because we had lots of quiz. I mean, we didn't have that much of quiz material, and it was just based on books and newspaper cuttings and things like that. So we shared all those with each other. So that the concept of teamwork, trying to do well together, is an important attribute that you should have. And then also, of course, for quizzes, one other important requirement is that you should be calm. And you should be very calm and listen to the question very carefully, not get overexcited. When you hear the first part of the question, you might think that you know the answer.
Then panic and answer the question.
Panic and answer the question. So must wait, get the quiz master to ask the question properly, and then logically answer that. So there is a process of analysis and logic as well in that. And then, of course, I think the other important thing is never to give up. So I mean, the first round might be a tough one, and there were more than one occasion, I'm sure you must have experienced as well, when the first round did not go very well. But then you should not be disheartened. You should always think that because quizzes depend on the questions that are asked, so sometimes the questions they are not always very well matched, and there can be discrepancies. So even if you are behind, you must make sure that you concentrate on that on the next round. So I think you should forget what went by in the past rounds, or in the previous question. Just concentrate on that question itself. So just concentrate on that question and try to get the best answer possible. Of course, so those characteristics are, I think, very important. And also, you should be analytical afterwards. I mean, I think we made it a point to discuss, even though some were not very pleasant experiences when we lost, but we made it a point to discuss those experiences to try and see where we went wrong. So I think that's also an important attribute. So kind of a post-mortem after the
you
event,
should reflect on the quiz.
Reflect on the quiz, because I think there may be certain patterns where we've been not doing so well in certain areas, or maybe the approach may have been a bit faulty. So those things can be picked up on a analysis, post-event analysis. And so that is another important attribute I think a quizzer should have. So a quizzer should be, I think, a broad-minded person, and who should always strive to improve as he goes along, and not think that he is the perfect
individual.
Quizzer. Yes. So that would be my take on that. Yes.
So it is evident that a quizzer should have a variety of qualities, and these qualities would definitely help you to perform well in quizzes and shine your alma mater's name. With that, we are approaching the conclusion of this episode of Mindspark. Thanks a lot, Dr. Harsha Sathischandra, for taking part in this interview and sharing with us your wisdom and memories.
Thank you very much, Yudla, for the kind invitation. I enjoyed the discussion very much.
From this episode of Mindspark, it was evident to all of us that quizzing, being a member of a general knowledge club, or any club for that matter, builds discipline, broadens perspective, and helps you to navigate through life much after leaving college. With that, we'll meet you in the next episode of Mindspark. Goodbye for now.